Hello and welcome to Washougal, the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship presented by FMF. Visits the Pacific Northwest, and yes, it's been raining, but the heat wave has moved out. Things are a little cooler. The Unbound Energy Washougal National is upon us here, round 8 of the 12 that will determine the championship for 2006. Hello everyone, I'm Brian Drebber along with David Pingree as usual, and Aaron Bates as usual, down there a little bit more in the middle of the action. Nice crowd on hand. James Stewart is back and maybe a little bit healthier. Things looking good here 200 years after Lewis and Clark rolled through.
Well, I think in that picture right there, they just saw Aaron Bates. One of them's pointing.
And the buzzards are circling over everyone else's chances of winning a motocross title this year besides Ricky Carmichael.
That's right. James Stewart's back, though, even though his title hopes are pretty much squashed. He really wants to work on getting that Kawasaki dialed in for next year, just getting his settings perfected. And he wants to come out and beat Ricky straight up in the last few races, or what could be the last few races of those two racing together for an entire season.
Last week, Ricky Carmichael pretty well having his way with things, working his way through the field, cutting it up pretty surgically.
Yeah, it's when everyone else was having problems with their fuel boiling and just not being able to breathe. Ricky was just stomping a hole in him all day long. 1-1 pretty easily again. James was back, still maybe not quite 100%. Pretty much bonked at the end of the day. Had to go visit the Astros truck, but he did finish 2 motos, no crashes. That's great news. That's got to be considered a successful day for him.
And here's why the buzzards were circling. The chances for Chad Reed, Davey Millsaps, and anybody else for a title are pretty slim indeed, because the man on the number 4, Makita Suzuki, has been hammering on him. Aaron Bates with a timely issue.
Well, if you've been following the sports pages, it's no secret about the performance enhancement drug abuse that takes place in sports such as bicycling, baseball, but how about in the sport of motocross? I was able to stop by the AMA this afternoon and pick up a little rule book pamphlet to find out just what their rules and regulations are on substance abuse. What they do, they check for things such as recreational drug abuse, things such as marijuana, cocaine, alcohol. But how about performance enhancement tests? Well, we were able to catch up with some of the team managers and riders earlier this afternoon and find out what their thoughts are on this and if they feel this issue should be addressed.
Yeah, I think at this point, you know, the sport's growing to a stage where guys are probably going to have a lot of alternatives and things that they think that they need to do to progress to the top. But I think that they should watch out for it and you know, keep testing for both. You know, and I know that Steve Whitelock and the AMA is working right now on improving the rule book and looking at some of these aspects. I think that it is an important part, and we should, I think it would be a good thing to test.
As far as really it making you go out and twist your throttle that much harder, I doubt it, but I'd love for it to be tested. As the sport grows, everyone's going to be looking for an advantage, and I think everyone needs to be tested. I would gladly welcome it. My trainer also, I mean, we definitely have been wanting to know why they haven't. So I think it'd be a good thing to get going. But I don't think it would have as much of an effect as people would think, you know.
You know, for any kid out there that's watching, you know, nothing works better than hard work. So, you know, it's no miracle drug. It's just hard work and bust your butt, and that's the only drug you should take. It's just hard work.
Well, Matt would know. He's been actually roommates with Floyd Landis, the Tour de France winner, who's being accused now of taking performance-enhancing drugs. And, you know, Floyd's one of his biggest mantras he lives by is the guy who trains the most, the hardest wins, period. That's what he says. That's what he tries to live by. So hopefully he's absolved of all that stuff that they're accusing him of. And but as far as this issue is concerned in our sport, I think it's something that does need to happen. Every other sport's testing, and there's nobody in motocross using cocaine, marijuana, or speed that's even competing on a professional level. So it's sort of silly the way they have it written now.
How about the track here at Washougal? You've seen it change over the years. Still pretty much the same place.
Yeah, it's an amazing track. It goes up into the mountains here. One of the coolest looking tracks to watch from. Very fun track to ride. The soil, though, a little deceiving. It looks tacky and loamy, like there's a lot of traction, but it gets down to a very hard, shiny surface, and you'll see that as these guys get going. They grab a handful of throttle on their 450s. They'll start breaking that rear wheel loose. Some of them will push front ends, and you'll see the shiny spots on the track where it's just down to very, very hard packed soil.
Our Honda starting lineup for moto number 1. They'll set the field for the second moto by the results of the first. This is the way they'll take off first time around. And the far end from this side is not where you want to be. You want to be somewhere down close to this end of the start as the gate drops, and off they go. And some of the real fast starters get out of there in a big hurry into turn number 1. As they make the corner to the line, it's Davey Millsaps on the number 118 out front. Not sure if he got to the white line first for the whole shot award, but he's got the lead.
I saw Carmichael buried in the pack. He's mid-pack at best, so he's got his work cut out for him as well.
Well, Carmichael with a big points lead maybe can afford to be a little cautious, but not that cautious. Millsaps out in front, then Wyndham, then Dansani.
What the heck happened to Millsaps? When did this kid become such a good starter? I think this is 4 in a row for him as far as hole shots go.
Chad Reed moves into third around Dansani, and we go back. Still no sign of A, number 7, James Stewart, or B, number 4, Ricky Carmichael. Got a glimpse of Stewart just then, but still no Makita Suzuki.
Well, this is a perfect scenario. The faster guys kind of buried at the back. With these 3 out front who have all been potential podium sitters, but maybe not having quite the speed to win. Maybe getting out front here and getting out front early will help them. And Wyndham's actually won here not too long ago. So.
Wow. But Wyndham just lost the number 2 spot to Chad Reed, who seems to have lit a fire under himself here in moto number 1 at Washougal. Reed, riding very aggressively in the early going, has taken over first, third, and now second.
This is a new section of the track, this little uphill and left. Brand new for this year. Very tight. Looks like they slowed it down a little bit up through that section.
K-Dub on the number 14 Honda showed us some real signs of life in Denver. Battling with Millsaps. Now he's third. There's Stewart fourth.
You see that little shiny groove as those guys come through the woods here. You see where it gets real shiny. That's very, very slippery. They squirt a little water down to keep the dust down, but it's just like glass. It's so slippery. So these guys having to really work the throttle through there.
Chad Reed through the whoops, takes the lead from Millsaps and goes for a quick tear off there as Chad Reed puts the number 22 Yamaha out in front. Millsaps going, where did he come from? We haven't seen a lot of Chad Reed this early in the race, and we haven't seen Reed lead in quite a while.
He looks like he's on fire too. He's pushing hard, getting going through the turns a lot quicker than I've seen. Looks just more aggressive than I've seen the last few rounds.
That's exactly what I was saying. He really looks like he's lit a fire under himself, and a very aggressive ride for Chad Reed. James Stewart trying to get up behind Kevin Wyndham, does so very quickly with an inside line. Wow, is James Stewart that much faster than Kevin Wyndham in 2 turns? Yes.
Yeah, he's already pulling a little gap on Kevin.
Wow, James Stewart is so quick. And when he's healthy, when he's 100%, it is a thing of quite, just a thing of beauty to watch him ride that hard.
I haven't seen Carmichael pop into this picture yet. He better get up here into this fight, or he's going to have too much of a gap to make up.
Chad Reed, then Davey Millsaps, then James Stewart. 1, 2, 3, and no sign of Ricky Carmichael just yet. There's Millsaps, got the whole shot, and led the early lap here.
Davey seems to be really kind of coming into his own on the 450. You know, at the beginning of the season, he showed that he had some speed, but he was crashing, he was fading, he was getting arm pump. Seems like the last, particularly in Colorado, he really came to life. He whole shot both motos, led for a while. Shoot, he's led more laps the last couple races than anybody, I think. And even now, he's running the pace. Reed's not pulling away from him too bad. I think he's really learning as these races go on, and he's going to be a contender to win next year.
Crowd really coming alive with a performance by James Stewart here as he head towards the front. He's in third spot right now, looking to take second away from Millsaps. Behind him, Kevin Wyndham, whom he dispensed pretty quickly, but James Stewart on the Kawasaki looking good.
You'll see these guys picking their way through this tree section real carefully. The cameras can't pick it up that well, but it's very shadowed. All those trees there, you go from sunlight to shadow, and you can't see the definition of the ruts where the bumps are. Very, very difficult to see. Guys will wear different colored lenses and things to try to sharpen it up, but it's just tough to see.
James Stewart, block pass, made that look easy on Millsaps, went right inside, and you could see it coming from 2 turns away. Ricky Carmichael has now made an appearance behind Kevin Wyndham in 5th position as Stewart takes over second.
There's a lot of talk coming from the Kawasaki camp that they were having trouble with James's rear shock. The rebound was too quick, and he'd get into really high-speed situations that would rebound too fast. And maybe some of his crashes were caused because of that. They weren't sure, but it's something they've definitely been working on, and that's what James wants to come back. And oh, it's raining.
And Ricky Carmichael just took over 4th spot from Kevin Windham. So Carmichael heading towards the front. Stewart definitely going that way, and now Carmichael trying to get up there in contention here in Moto number 1. So Ricky Carmichael has made an appearance here on the Makita Suzuki. The man leading the championship by a commanding margin is back in the race. Millsaps and Ricky Carmichael, 2nd and 3rd position on the racetrack right now. 3rd and 4th position on the racetrack right now. With all respect to James Stewart, who is just ahead of them, and to our leader, Chad Reed. Carmichael makes the pass on Millsaps and heads that way.
You see him, he's pulling. Ricky's got roll-offs on. Maybe they kind of anticipated some rain coming down. He's run those the last couple races, actually, which is odd to me. I know Ricky prefers tear-offs, but he doesn't want to take a chance of running out of them and having blurred goggles.
So Carmichael now getting a little closer to James Stewart. There's Stewart, there's Reed, so all the leaders are well inside of one another. Davey Millsaps in 4th spot trying to make sure that he stays close, as Chad Reed is out in front. To touch lightly on the subject of drug testing, we're certainly not going to solve any of the problems or questions or answer very many of the questions. One of the biggest ones that occurs to me, and the reason that it's probably most relevant, is that the cost of drug testing at that level comes with a very high price tag, and that certainly is something that the powers that be will have to take into consideration.
It's very expensive, it's very time consuming, and quite frankly, it's difficult. The Tour de France is having this problem now where they find a test to pick out a particular drug. They'll come up with another designer drug that skirts that test, and round and round they go. You know, and as far as whether it's relevant in our sport or not, maybe as far as how fast you can ride the bike, it's not going to help you. I mean, a little bit of testosterone or whatever that they would give you, but what it would do is allow for you to recover much easier. When you consider these guys are doing 16 rounds of Supercross, 12 nationals, overseas events during the off-season, testing, they really don't get a break. And to have your body be able to recover by using a performance-enhancing drug, I mean, those are significant benefits. And when there's no sanctioning body testing you for this stuff, the only thing holding you back is, you know, the financial ability to do it, which these top few guys do have. So, not to point any fingers or say that any of them are doing it, but I think we would be wise to just, you know, put the testing in there a couple times a year, and at least let everybody know that, hey, if you're considering it, consider that you might get caught.
All the top riders have gone on record as saying that they would welcome it because they adhere. Oh, down goes Chad Reed, and there's nothing that comes out of a drug lab that's going to help when you just fall over. But Chad Reed, now that it's raining, is finding out that the Washougal track is not only wet where they've watered it, but it's wet where Mother Nature is putting something down. Now, the good news for him is that he didn't really lose that much time nor that many positions. In fact, perhaps just one.
Well, like I said, this ground is very, very hard and shiny. It looks like it's good traction, but you can see there that little light patch, that's just shiny, hard, slick dirt. And with this little bit of sprinkling rain coming down, it looked like his front end just started to push. If it was not so slippery, he would have probably pulled that one off and saved it, but just absolutely no traction. The front end slid out from under him.
Losing 2 spots to James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. There are those who would say it might have happened anyway, but Chad Reed tipping over made it a lot easier for Stewart. Here comes Carmichael, and these two have resumed their battle, this time for the lead, and apparently both pretty much, if not at 100%.
Well, here we go again. If you're not smiling right now, you're not a motocross fan, because this is what it's all about.
The gap behind them tells the story. These two are the class of the field when they're both running at full tilt. And so James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael, as Carmichael goes inside, can't quite get close enough to make the pass. Stewart is there, Carmichael right behind him. And yes, if you're a motocross fan, you're smiling right now, and if you look close, you'll see smiles on the faces of the fans around the fences here. Carmichael goes outside, crosses back in with a great drive up the hill. They flatten it out side by side, little kickouts there, and here they come in tandem. James Stewart with Ricky Carmichael right behind him. Inside goes Carmichael again to take the lead, but not for long. And he does it again, side by side. Pushes Stewart out off the edge of the track, and Ricky Carmichael takes advantage by a couple of bike lengths. You know this is not over.
Well, Ricky's been definitely forcing the issue. Anytime these two get together, he doesn't waste a lot of time. He gets in there. If he's got to bump him, he did it at Budds Creek. He'll just shove you out of the way. Yeah, that's how he gets around you now.
And the rain has subsided for the time being, so the track, whatever can. Oh, Stewart turns the favor right back, comes in and blasts Carmichael to take the lead.
Oh, snap. Now, how angry is Ricky Carmichael right now? He's been doing that to James all year. I think James just finally said, hey.
So James Stewart retakes the lead in dramatic fashion. Whether real anger or just that competitive spirit that both of these men have is going to rise to the top, that's exactly what we have to think here as Stewart and Carmichael resume their rivalry, resume their battle. It's Moto 1 at Washougal, and stay with us. Championship by FMF. This is what they had in mind when they put the season together. James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael going after each other. Hammer and tong, as our British colleagues would like to say, and Carmichael trying to find another way around. Now they've both exchanged sort of rabbit punches, if you will. Now let's see if the real knockout, if either one can deliver it.
Well, Ricky pushed him off the track. There wasn't a whole lot of contact there, but he definitely didn't leave him any room, and James went off the track, had to go around a jump. And when James came back, he ran straight into Ricky. He shoved him right completely off the track. So
now Carmichael just took the lead again in a very gentlemanly pass by comparison. So apparently the hostilities have subsided somewhat, at least, with an exchange of block passes. Carmichael now with the advantage, and Stewart trying to find a way back around.
Well, these two, for the most part, they'll race clean together. They're not going to, there's no bitterness there between the two of them, but they both really want to win, and if there's only a little bit of room to make a pass, these guys are going to take it. They're going to open that gap up.
Every bit of me wants to think that on both occasions they were laughing under their helmets, saying, wow, that was good. All right, I like that. I'll give you back some of your own medicine here in just a minute. So it's that competitive fire that Carmichael and Stewart possess in huge quantities that's motivating them right now as they work through some traffic there, going past Mike LaPaglia from California on his Suzuki.
You see LaPaglia ducking his head down. When you're coming up that hill behind a 450, oh man, you better have a chest protector on it. You will just be welted up.
James Stewart getting close to Carmichael once again as they work the track here at Washougal after a little rain shower. Yes, there's some mud covering both rider and machine. Stewart almost a little short on that last jump, but made it look like he meant to do that.
Can you see how fast these guys are going through these turns? They're just dropping into these ruts, leaned completely over flat and pinning it. This pace they've got going right now is ridiculous.
Well, it's easy to tell how much faster they are than everyone else. Do you see anyone else on the same lap? No.
I wish Reedy wouldn't have fallen, because it would have been interesting to see how his pace held up with these two. Would have really added something to the battle, but
Carmichael and Stewart working through lap traffic right now, and those riders doing the best they can to get out of the way in some parts of the track where there's hardly two lines. And besides, there are two guys coming up behind them, you have to leave two lines. Stewart gets through clean, lost a little bit of ground to Carmichael. Carmichael with a big advantage right now here in Moto number 1. Working traffic just a little bit better. James has got to go back to work to try to close the gap again. He can do it. Coming up on the final lap, Carmichael and Stewart with the white flag waving. Still a little bit of traffic in front of him. The number 361 there, Colton Facciati from Canada.
You've seen Ricky Carmichael have to change his strategy. He used to be so much more fit than anyone else on the track. He could just take his time, be very patient. He knew at about the 20-minute mark, everybody would slow down and he would actually get faster. And what James has done is just, he's made that strategy not work anymore. James is just as fit. He's faster than Ricky used to be, so Ricky had to increase his speed and attack right from the beginning. I mean, James isn't dropping off his rear wheel here at all. Ricky's having to push all the way to the finish. So I would be interesting to be a fly on the wall at their little team meetings and see what Ricky's strategy is. You know, it's got to be just, hey, get to the front as fast as you can and haul butt because James is going to be right there.
Well, James is right there, but seems to be coming up on lappers in slightly less opportune moments. So Carmichael's been able to maintain this gap for the last lap. And we're on the final lap right now, but Stewart isn't cutting him any slack.
And he's not backing off either. He wants Ricky to know that he can finish right behind him. These are the turns I'm talking about. Look how fast they get through these corners.
Carmichael on the final lap here in Moto number 1, still working traffic. James Stewart doing everything he can to try to get up there and make a race out of it as Carmichael continues to bounce it around and ride aggressively. The only thing that Stewart might have is a little less race fitness than Ricky Carmichael because he's had a few weeks off here and there.
Yeah, he has taken some time off. At Colorado last weekend, I think he was definitely sort of blowing the cobwebs off, and he's obviously a little bit better here, and I think as the season goes on, these last 4 races, he'll get even better and even better. These races will get more fun to watch because James is just going to continue to get more comfortable racing again, and they're going to continue to work out the little glitches that they've got on that bike, if there are any, if that rebounding issue is as big a problem as they're saying. And when they figure those little things out, James is going to take off a 10th here, a half a second there, and he'll be even closer to Ricky if that's possible.
And of course the fans are the winners, even though Stewart is out of the championship, even by his own admission. The fans who lean over the fences every week at places like Washougal want to see good racing like this. Pass and repass between Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart. In the end, Carmichael prevails.
Oh, Ricky's waving him up. Wonder what this is all about.
Well, it looks like some good sportsmanship in the end, and they'll race again in Moto number 2. Moto number 1's in the record books, and Ricky Carmichael has emerged the winner, talking it over with his crew. And the celebration will begin shortly, and a few feet away, James Stewart doing the same.
It's good to see those two kind of pat each other on the back and say good ride, not get angry about the bumps that they had during the race. Those two are definitely professionals.
Suzuki Moto results running down all the standings from the first race. Carmichael out in front, of course, with James Stewart second. Let's hear from Chad Reed, who's third.
Well, for a guy that had the lead for the first couple of laps, coming back from an injury, Chad, even though you're out riding there sore, you ended up off the track. One more crash yet.
Yeah, you know, I knew the start was going to be real key today. It's horrible in the back section. It's like trail riding just through the trees, and you know, I was just out front. I actually felt really comfortable, felt good. You know, I seen those guys there, and I was just trying to put consistent laps together, and just pushed in a section that you know, maybe I shouldn't have pushed so hard, and just lost the front and hit my head pretty good. But you know, I'm happy to be back up on the podium, and another good start, and try battle with those guys without a crash.
Regroup and see you in second moto.
That's it. Thanks.
Our Racer X hole shot once again to the surprising Davey Millsaps as he comes off the corner of the number 118, beats K-Dub to the line by about a wheel.
While he's back feeling fit and healthy, James, what a battle you two just had. Probably one of the best races ever.
Yeah, you know, it feels good just to be back up here running, you know. Got actually a full weekend of riding, and man, Kawasaki, these guys busted their butt working on this motorcycle, and it's a lot better from where we've been. So all we can do is improve. We got a break after this, so I'm really excited about getting back and getting back to where I should be at.
Would you say that that's probably one of the best battles you've ever had?
It definitely ranks up there. I've been around a long time, so I've had some good battles. But you know what? I'm looking forward to it. It's great that everyone's 100%, and you know, I definitely got to say, man, I put a cheap shot on him in the back. Really not my character, but you know, I was struggling to get by. I was waiting, and getting by him clean was going to be tough. So I forced the issue, and then he returned the favor back at me, and then the second time to make it stick, I ended up getting a good pass by him.
Nobody does more to protect your right to ride than the American Motorcyclist Association. Every racer on the track is an AMA member. How about you? Call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. The AMA writes, riding, and racing. So as the Pacific Northwest waits patiently for Moto number 2, let's go to our riding tip with Team Suzuki and David Pingree.
One thing that Ricky Carmichael does great is pass riders, even when they're fast guys like James Stewart. And you watch here, he goes from the outside to the inside, crosses back over to the outside again, and then back to the inside, setting up this pass right here on James. You know, that's 3 turns ahead of where he actually makes the pass. He does it again here, outside to inside, back across, sets him up for the inside and this left, where he shoves him outside. makes a clean pass. So you've got to be looking down the track 2 or 3 turns to set up a pass like that.
And that's our riding tip with Team Suzuki. As the fans settling into their chairs here, getting ready for the second moto, we can only hope that it's as good as the first one. So stay with us right here at Washougal. Washougal Motocross Park, which leads us to think that the riders have some time off. What are they going to do, Aaron Bates?
Well, as some of these guys look forward to a weekend off, that's not quite the case for all. I was able to find out what these guys are going to be up to next week on their time off. Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart are going to be heading to Loretta Lynn's to celebrate the 25th anniversary there and to demo the 2007 models. Chad Reed, on the other hand, is going to be going to X Games Supermoto, hoping for great success there as well. Some of these guys are looking to go home and test, while others will be taking some well-deserved time off and let their bodies recuperate. Either way, it just shows their dedication for the sport.
And wow, Ping, a whole week off. Gee, what are they going to do with all that time as we look at our Honda starting lineup for Moto 2?
Well, sounds like James and Ricky are going to go to Tennessee and sweat. And Reedy's going to go back. He finished on the podium in last year's Supermoto at the X Games, so he seems to be a natural at that.
Well, riding a motorcycle one way or the other would be the thing that all of them will do, no doubt, because they have to stay in shape. Millville is, in fact, just a little over a week away. Gates drop for moto number 2. Ricky Carmichael looking for a better start. James Stewart fighting for the whole shot award, and I think he got it.
It looked like he and Ricky sort of bumped bars coming out of the gate, and it left Ricky back a ways.
Rick's about 6th or 7th there on the left side of the screen, hopping over the hill in the number 4 bike as we watch the field thundering around the track here. But James Stewart out in front with the whole shot. Probably doesn't know yet where Carmichael is, but figures, hey, everybody's behind me. That's all that counts.
Mike Brown's up there on the Rockstar Energy Suzuki. He's had some struggles in the lights class, moved it up to the motocross class, and he's got a good start going in this moto anyway.
James Stewart with the best start of anyone. And as the number 26 of Michael Byrne jumps into 2nd position there, Chad Reed in 3rd, Carmichael 5th. Stewart, somebody better get going here in a hurry or he's going to check out. Here comes Carmichael working on Millsaps. Maybe Millsaps still consistently the best starter across these 2 motos. Nice job for him.
This track gets chewed up. As Reed said, this part through the trees here, very narrow and very dark. Like he said, it was a lot like trail riding through the woods. So I don't know about that, but it's definitely not the wide open, fast motocross tracks that these guys are used to most of the time. Oh, we got somebody down.
Got a problem down here, and Carmichael's one of the riders down. Chad Reed had taken over 2nd position, but Carmichael fighting with Millsaps apparently, and Michael Byrne. All 3 of them kind of got tangled up, and Byrne stalled the bike, can't get it going again.
Well, you can see that dark glaze on the track. That's water. They put water down, and when it gets on those very, very hard sections, like I talked about earlier, it's slippery. I'm sure one of those guys just coming down that hill lost their front end, and it tangled a few of them up.
How about Mike Brown in 3rd position here on the number 3? Always great to see Brownie up there fighting for a spot. And Kevin Windham is right behind him. Here comes Carmichael, the quickest to recover from the incident. And we don't see Davey Millsaps. Yes, Ricky Carmichael, the quickest to get up and get going again.
Well, Farsi wants any chance of racing with James. He's got to get by these guys right here quick.
Daniel Sani on the 86, Travis Preston on the 11 among the contenders here. As Kevin Windham works behind Brownie. There's Preston, there's Carmichael coming up alongside, and Dan Sani just behind them.
Sani's been impressive again. This guy's ran in the 10th place in the first moto, and here he is again sitting inside the top 10. Wasn't even supposed to be in the motocross class this summer, but made the move up, and it's paying off for him.
Kevin Windham leaping by the camera and got past Mike Brown. Here comes Carmichael next. Carmichael working on the number 3 Suzuki with his number 4. Windham just about parking it in that very slow turn. Here comes Carmichael. Will he make a move on Brown this time around? Setting up those turns 2 or 3 corners in advance.
A-Dub's got his hunting gear on again. Up here in the Northwest, that's fitting. He's probably got some people cheering for him because of his bright orange gear.
Hunting for a podium finish, perhaps. Carmichael in 4th is going to take that away from Windham if he can. Down inside on the low line. Gets the drive off the corner, but Kevin Windham's Honda still working pretty good. Ooh, nice little kick out there as Carmichael is on the gas. He knows that James Stewart is out in front. He wants to resume that battle. It isn't a matter of points, it's a matter of pride. He wants to get up there and race with the man, probably the only man on the track that's as fast as he is.
And you can see him there. As they come up that hill, you see James just racing down the backside of it. So Ricky knows the gap that he's got now, the gap that he's got to make up. And maybe he can, maybe he can't, but he wants to get going immediately and try to close that gap up.
He's just taken the podium position away from Kevin Windham now, heading towards the front. Chad Reed and James Stewart in front of him.
We'll see how much pride means to Ricky here. I mean, he's clearly got the points lead. He doesn't have any reason to catch James other than he wants to win. So we'll see how bad he wants to win.
Daniel Sani, Travis Preston, and Timmy Ferry making an appearance there. Here's James Stewart, our leader. That's how far behind Chad Reed is, and 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 5 or maybe 6 seconds by my highly scientific measuring method is Ricky Carmichael. We'll be right back. Bound Energy Washougal National shaping up to be a good one as Carmichael is up behind Chad Reed just like that. And when Carmichael sets his sight on somebody, it's usually a successful hunt.
We talked a little bit about Ricky always staying outside or inside of a guy's line. Another reason for that is staying out of that roost. Not only does it dirty your goggles and hurt, but it breaks your focus, breaks your concentration. When you're getting hit with that dirt, you're not focusing on where you're going and what your next move is, what line you're hitting.
To a lesser degree on a muddier track, it would also clog up the cooling system, perhaps get stuck in the wheel and slow you down physically as well. So Carmichael now stalking Chad Reed, trying to find a place to get around him. He goes way outside on this one, setting something up for the right-hander. He gets in tight and makes the pass for now anyway. Side by side up the hill, Ricky Carmichael gets the job done.
There's a pretty big gap to James. I mean, I don't know that he can close that kind of distance, but we'll see.
Well, he had a pretty big gap behind Chad Reed when we went to commercial break, and he's closed that one up right away. Reed still showing some signs of fight here as he crosses back to the inside, gets close, comes up into the, oh, he could have put a wheel on him, but didn't. A little bit back further in the field. It's Timmy Ferry, Travis Preston, 4th and 5th. Kevin Windham, sorry, Windham, then Preston, then Timmy Ferry, 3 Hondas. Oh, nice pass there, almost. As Kevin Windham came inside on Travis Preston, but Preston stays ahead of him. So Kevin Windham's got his hunting gear on now, hunting for a spot to hold on in the top 5.
Windham is, looks like he's kind of on his way back. Ferry's all over him. Lost a spot to Preston, so maybe Kevin's just not feeling it today or just off the pace a little bit.
Another look here at Kevin Windham and Travis Preston, who gets by him.
Yeah, Preston just went around the outside, carried more momentum through that turn, and went right by him.
Windham tried to fight back on the inside, but Preston with just too much drive off the corner keeps the spot. Now Kevin Windham and Timmy Ferry. Windham trying to hang on to 5th, and Timmy Ferry has designs on that position.
Timmy's been riding great this second half of the season. The Moto XXX guys, put a lot of work into getting his bike ready, getting him set up to go once his wrist was back in shape, and he's rewarded those guys with a bunch of top 5s and just always charging. It's good to see him pushing to the end and always being up front. Here he's puts a pass on Windham and looks like he's going to make it stick.
Windham still slightly ahead as they come up to the next corner. We'll see if Tim Ferry can get it done. Here he goes to the inside, and he knew it.
Just about blew the camera out of our cameraman's hands.
That was a very close pass on a tight camera position there. So now Tim Ferry up into 5th, shoves Kevin Windham back to 6th. Goes for a tear off or a roll off there in midair. and continues on his way. Kevin Windham, not much he can do about it. James Stewart is our leader here at Washougal Moto number 2. He finished runner-up to Carmichael in the first one, but he's out in front, and Ricky having some difficulty.
Oh, he's on him.
Yeah, closing the gap, but he's gotten it done now. So that speed that Carmichael possesses when he needs it is very much in evidence once again.
I didn't think he'd be able to close that much time on James, but he found some speed somewhere.
Well, when you've got that carrot sticking out there in front of you, you're going to whip yourself into shape here. As Carmichael has closed the gap on to James Stewart here. We've got a few laps to go. Right now we'll take a quick break and come back to the action here at Washougal. By Dentine Ice. Go bold. Carmichael's going to have to go bold here as the closing laps are upon us. And James Stewart is just in front of him. Carmichael pushing hard. Stewart with the speed. And the battle resumes.
This is for the overall. Both of these guys know that. James certainly knows that he caught it, made up all that distance on him, but he doesn't want to let this go either.
Oh, and right in front of the mechanic signal area, Ricky Carmichael shows Goose that he can get it done as he goes past James Stewart now. Indeed, 1-1 for Carmichael will give him the overall, but a 2-1 for James Stewart would give the number 7 rider that overall win. Carmichael in front right now with Stewart trying to figure out a way to get back around him. These two had such a good battle in Moto number 1. Certainly Stewart will have learned something. Carmichael getting a little bit better brakes in traffic. Let's see if it happens again, and that's partly why Carmichael must have gone by. James Stewart pushing him hard once again.
Ricky looks like he's swapping all over the place there. I don't know if it's getting slippery out there, if he's just pushing that hard, but he's been going sideways more than he's been going straight this last lap.
Sideways again on the uphill section here. James Stewart right behind him trying to capitalize. They go side by side over the jump. The next turn's a left-hander. Stewart can't make it work.
That was the Bubba scrub right there, in case you were wondering. James didn't even get any air off that jump, and he hit it faster than Ricky did.
Somehow Carmichael managed to stay in front of him. Stewart's going to have to work him again. Find a turn, plan a couple of spots, a couple of turns ahead of that, see if he can make a move.
Yeah, he just lost some time in those turns here through the woods riding section, as Chad Reed called it.
So Carmichael with maybe a second advantage right now, and the distance between them is obvious to all of the some 27,000 fans who have packed the parking lot and the track here at Washougal.
2 laps to go. James is still close enough to make a pass again, so.
Another look at this sequence just a little bit earlier.
Ricky just squared it up and went aside of him and blocked his line.
Carmichael and then Stewart in that order. Inside 2 laps remaining here at Washougal. Track conditions have somewhat stabilized now, and we expect it'll hold up about the way it is for these final couple of circuits. Like Roger DeCoster there signaling to Carmichael.
I think he was signaling to that lap rider to get the heck out of the way.
Well, whatever happened, it worked. Oh! An epic get-off by Ricky Carmichael, who's on his feet before the bike stops moving. And now the question is, nope, it is not still running. The bike did stall, but he gets it running pretty quickly. Sometimes Ricky Carmichael has the luck of the Irish, doesn't he? Look at this. Oh, that looked like freestyle.
He was like a yard dart.
That was the flying no-handed Superman get-off dismount. They'll come up with a name for that one. It is epic.
You see his front wheel it pushed on that hard, slick dirt, and he had the bar turned, and when he grabbed that sticky dirt, when it hit that again, it just locked the bars up and spit him over the front.
And what a tough piece of leather is Ricky Carmichael. Hits the ground flat on his belly from 10 feet in the air, and he's up and running before the bike even quits moving. So the final lap now for James Stewart and the checkered flag. He gets handed a certain amount of good fortune, but a lot of us, including me, are going to say that James Stewart had him covered here in Moto 2.
Well, he rode great. He did what he had to do, kept it on 2 wheels all weekend.
Well, we've got a few highlights, and among them will certainly be that epic get-off by Carmichael. Here's the pass for Moto number 1, the pass and repass by these two who were giving it their all.
That was my favorite pass right there. James came in and just bumped him almost completely off the track.
And Goose giving him the signal with 3 laps to go in Moto number 2 as Carmichael passed James Stewart from way behind. And then as Ricky Carmichael had the lead, one little mistake and a highlight for all time.
You notice he didn't let go of the bars until his feet were up by his ears. I mean, this guy will absolutely try to ride out anything. Oh, I got it. All right, I'm going to crash.
I think he's still saying I got it because he could land back on the bike when they were both in the air. But James Stewart picks up the win anyway, and Ricky Carmichael finishes second. That'll give Stewart the overall win. So Bubba is back, I guess we'd have to say, here at Washougal.
What a great race. I can assure you Ricky is so mad at himself. He's going to go back and work so hard the next 2 weeks. Even if he had a little vacation planned, he's not going there anymore.
Our Suzuki Moto results: James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, same 3 names in a slightly different order at the top of the standings here as we look at all the results. And we would have to say that Ricky Carmichael had that one pretty much in the bag. Let's take a look at our Racer X hole shot. It went to the same man who won the race. James Stewart gets to the line first. And our Dentine Ice overall results, there it is, 2-1 for James Stewart and a 1-2 for Ricky Carmichael. The 2-1 breaks the tie. Let's go down to Aaron Bates.
Well, one of the most bizarre get-offs we've seen in a while. Ricky, what exactly went on out there?
You know what? I was ready. I had 2 more laps to go. Just got into the lead and just was leaning over the front, you know, just charging. And what happened was I just, my front end was, you know, just sliding, and it caught and flipped me over. I'm lucky I'm not hurt. But, man, just disappointed. That was a dumb mistake, and I only had a lap and a half. And I just broken James, and all I had to do was bring it home, but I failed.
What is it about this track? There's something about it that seems to be challenging for you.
Damn, I don't know, man. I'm always screwing something up here. It's always been tough for me, and you know what? Hey, life goes on, and it'll be good. Just keep me motivated on the weekend off.
Great job.
Thanks.
Well, that was the fakest laugh I've ever heard.
Our point standings here with Ricky Carmichael, a 76-point advantage. He doesn't have a lot to worry about, but he keeps pushing himself to that perfection.
Well, the only guy to take the overall win away from Ricky Carmichael since 2003, and he's done it not only once but twice already this season. James, you poured on the juice when it counted.
Yeah, you know, I just got a good pace going, and you know, I saw those guys catching me, and the way this track is, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, make up time and push, you know. So, you know, he started making, and he passed me, and I passed him back, and I could have hit him, but I was like, man, we're going too fast right here, and he got by me, and I saw his line, so it was good. The crowd was out there great, and I just got to give it up to my team. Like I said in the first moto, these guys went back and busted behind, and it feels good to get a win before the break, and now it's really motivation to go back and work a lot harder.
Well, it's a great ride for James to come back and get a win, even if it was at the cost of Ricky's crash. Still, it's got to feel good for him and his team, get those guys motivated for these last few rounds.
Well, and we can only anticipate what's to come here for the final 4 rounds. If we see more of that or if we see more of this, well, time will tell. For Aaron Bates and David Pingree, I'm Brian Drebber, looking forward to Millville.